Hello everyone, welcome to Assist Biology. In this video, we are going to discuss about oogenesis and menstrual cycle, and this is the fourth part from the chapter Human Reproduction. I am Ashish Kumar Das, student of MSc Animal Biology, University of Hyderabad. And if you are new to this channel, please subscribe the channel and press the bell icon for getting more updates. So what we will learn today? First of all, we will see what is oogenesis. We will see what are the hormones that are responsible for oogenesis and how it is hormonally controlled. Then we will see the different phases associated with the menstrual cycle, and we will also see why the temperature of the body rises during the menstruation and many more. So first of all, what is oogenesis? As we have discussed, spermatogenesis is the formation of mature motile male gamete. Similarly, oogenesis is the formation of mature female gamete or ova inside the ovary. So this is the formation of female gamete inside the ovary. Then it is where it is started or when it is started. It is started in ovary, and this starts before the puberty, that is during the embryonic development in the female fetus. That is when the female fetus is undergoing development inside the womb, then the oogenesis is started. So it is initiated during the embryonic development in the female fetus. That is the all oogonia. That is these are the germ cell. So germ cell means they are having ability to form the gametes. So the germ cell that inside the fetal ovary, that is about around the 25 weeks of the development, during the 25 weeks of the gestation period, they are formed. There are about 1 million in number, and after that no more oogonia are formed. And what happens, all of these oogonia do not retain the ability to form gametes. So what happens, some of the oogonia lost their ability to form the gametes. So the oogonial cell which enter the meiosis 1 are called as primary oocyte. So as reduction division is necessary to reduce the number of chromosome from diploid set to haploid set, so the meiosis occur, and the cells which undergo meiosis 1 are the primary oocyte, and the development is arrested at the prophase 1. So as you know, meiosis is having number of phase, that is prophase, metaphase, anaphase, telophase. So the primary oocyte are arrested at the prophase 1. Then other cell forgo this potential, so they lost this potential and they will become the granulosa cell or follicle cell. We will see this in detail. So here you can see the oogonium is there. Oogonium divided by mitosis to form more oogonium. Then the primary oocyte is arrested at the prophase 1. Here you can see the primary oocyte, and primary oocyte is diploid in nature. So this is occurring before birth, and the primary oocyte are inactive during the childhood, and from puberty to menopause they will form they will become active during the from the beginning of the childhood to the until they reach puberty. They will become active and they will form the primary oocyte, but that is the active primary oocyte arrested at prophase 1, and again they will divide, that is forming the secondary oocyte, and the secondary oocyte are formed once the meiosis 1 is completed, and the primary oocyte are the oocyte arrested at the prophase 1 of the meiosis. So here the secondary oocyte will again divide by meiosis 2, and it will form the it is also arrested at the metaphase 2. So primary oocyte is arrested at prophase 1 and the secondary oocyte is arrested at metaphase 2. Okay, so we will see this in detail. So when this is completed, then we will also see. So in another diagram here you can see the primordial follicle cell. That is the follicle cell, or the follicle or granulosa cell are the cell that have lost the ability to form the gametes. So the primordial follicle, you can see the primary follicle, then growing follicle, mature follicle. All of these things we will discuss in detail. So the cells that lost the ability to form gamete, they will become the granulosa cell or follicle cell. So here you can see in this diagram the ovary is there, the oogonium is there. You can see here this is the enlarged oogonium, and the primary oocyte is there, that is primary oocyte is formed. Then you can see the first polar body will also form here, a polar body. Then developing follicle, you can see the ruptured follicle, that is to release the gamete. You can see corpus luteum, you can see. So what's happen, the primary oocyte when it's complete the development, that is the meiosis 1, then it will become then it will form the secondary oocyte and it will form the first polar body. And when the secondary oocyte complete meiosis 2, then it will form another polar body, that is the second polar body. That means there are 3 polar body will be formed. Okay, the first polar body form after the along with the secondary oocyte, that is when the primary oocyte completes the development, will form another 2 polar body. So there are total 3 polar body. So this is in contrary to the spermatogenesis, that is from the one spermatogonium there are 4 haploid sperm are formed, but here only one haploid gametes, that is the ova, will be formed. This is to ensure the supply of the nutrients, that is to retain more nutrients for the development of the embryo. Now the primary oocyte become covered by a layer of granulosa cells, and this is called as primary follicle. So what is follicular atresia? That is, we have already seen there are about 1 million of the ovum formed during the puberty, that is in the fetal ovary during the development inside the womb, but from them only 60,000 to 80,000 will become active, and means that are left in the ovary, and other are degenerated. This is called as follicular atresia. You remember the term follicular atresia. Then the secondary follicle, these are the follicle that will surrounded by more granulosa cell, and they will, and a thicker layer will be formed, that is a layer of the granulosa cell or layer of thicker cell. Then as the development continues, a cavity develops in the secondary follicle around the primary oocyte, that is more and more cells are being covered, and that's why it will lead to formation of cavity, that is a gap between the two layer of the cells, and this cavity is called antrum, and this is filled with a liquid called as liquor folliculi. Then the thicker layer organized into outer theca externa and inner theca interna, and now this stage it is called as tertiary follicle. So we will see this. So how tertiary follicle will be formed. So the tertiary follicle continues its development, and primary oocyte completes meiosis 1 and form a large cell, that is the secondary oocyte and the fast polar body. So as we have already discussed, the primary oocyte is arrested at meiosis 1, that is prophase 1, and when this complete, this forms a secondary oocyte and a fast polar body. So the secondary oocyte grows in size, and this is the bulk of nutrients, and this what's happen, again it will form one large cell, that will be the ova, and the another cell that will be the your another polar body. So the secondary oocyte starts its second meiotic division, but it is suspended at the metaphase 2 until a sperm enter it. So how this is completing means, once your sperm fertilize with the ovum, then it will complete its the development. So one thing you must remember, the primary oocyte are arrested at prophase 1 of meiosis 1, and the secondary oocyte are arrested at the the metaphase 2 of the meiosis 2. So you can see here the oogonium is there. Oogonium is dividing the primary oocyte that is arrested in prophase 1. The primary oocyte completes its meiosis 1, and it becomes the secondary oocyte and the polar body, and the ovulation sperm entry is there. Okay, here you can see. Then the meiosis 2 will be completed, and this is completed after the fertilization, means during the fertilization. This is forming a 2 and fertilized egg and the polar body. So here you can see the before but the primary oocyte are formed, but not all primary oocyte retain the ability. Some of them will be lost, and this is called as follicular atresia. Now you can see the hormonal control. You can see here the hypothalamus, that is the master controller of our body. So hypothalamus stimulates the anterior pituitary, and it will secrete FSH and LH. So FSH and LH act on the ovary, and the ovary secretes estrogen under the influence of the FSH and LH. So FSH is follicle stimulating hormone, that will stimulate the formation of the follicles, and the LH is luteinizing hormone. So the estrogen, when it is secreted in more quantity, that will inhibit, that is you can see this is a red mark. So this will inhibit the more secretion of the gonadotropin, that is FSH and LH, from the anterior ovary, the anterior pituitary. So this again the estrogen is also secreted by the growing follicular cell. So as the growing follicular cell become mature follicle, ovulation will takes place, and the corpus luteum, that is after the release of the ova, this is called corpus luteum because this is yellowish in color. Then it will secrete estrogen, progesterone, and also inhibin. So this will also inhibit the secretion from the hypothalamus, that is the hypothalamus is releasing gonadotropin releasing hormone, and the estrogen, progesterone inhibit the release. So this is called as negative feedback loop. Here you can see FSH and LH is there, gonadotropin, they are secreted on the influence of GnRH. So FSH and LH, after being released, they will stimulate the ovary to secrete estrogen, and the estrogen will itself suppressing the release of the FSH and LH. The estrogen is inhibiting the secretion of FSH and LH. Now you can see the menstrual cycle. So first of all, what is menstrual cycle? This is cyclic changes that occur in the female reproductive tract. That is, this is a cycle of events, one repeated after another, and this is occurring inside the female, in the female reproductive tract, that is of the primates. So primates is, this is a order under the class Mammalia, and what are the representative organism under the primates? That is monkeys, apes, human beings, etc. So the events start from the one menstruation till onset of the next, and this lasts for about 28 to 29 days, and this duration is called a mensem. So the duration of the menstruation cycle, one menstruation cycle, 28 to 29 days. So the beginning of menstruation in puberty is called a menarche, and this occurs at around 16 to 18 years. This is the fast menstrual flow during the puberty. So the last menstrual flow is called the menopause, and this occurs at about 48 to 50 years. So all the events that are occurring in the menstrual phase, follicular phase or proliferative phase, ovulatory phase, and the last phase is the luteal and secondary phase. So first of all, let us see the diagram here. You can see the follicular phase, the luteal phase, and the menses. So here you can see this, so follicular phase, menses, estradiol, progesterone, estrogen, all of these things you can see. So here what is when you can see the uterine lining, so this is increasing and decreasing. Then you can see estradiol, that is a type of estrogen. You can see the progesterone also, this is the progesterone, and you can see the FSH and LH. So FSH and LH level are highest during the ovulatory phase, that is at the 14th day of the menstruation. And this time means during the, so here from the 14 days to this means 28 day, you can see the increase in body temperature, and this is the progesterone hormone is responsible for the increase in body temperature. And this is because what happens, the progesterone are thermogenic, means they will increase the body temperature. So what are the phases? First of all, the menstrual phase. The cycle starts with this menstrual flow, and this lasts for 3 to 5 days. So you have to remember the duration, and also you have to remember what are the changes associated with the follicle and the uterus. So the endometrial lining is thickening, that is the breakdown of the endometrial lining. So and the blood vessels along with the unfertilized ovum. So the ovum is unfertilized, it is set up along with the blood vessels and the other endometrial lining tissues. Then the follicular or proliferative phase, the primary follicle grows to form the mature follicle, and the endometrium is regenerated by the proliferation of cell. Actually what happens, the endometrium of the uterus always prepare itself to receive the fertilized egg, but when the egg is not fertilized, it is set up along with the unfertilized egg. So the endometrium uterus is regenerated by the follicular, that is the proliferation of cell. The FSH control the follicular phase, stimulate the growth of the follicle, and the secretion of estrogen by the growing follicle. So the estrogen is secreted by both the follicle and the ovary. Then both FSH and LH repair, that is reach their peak level in the middle of the cycle, and this is occur around the 14th day. The ovulatory phase, that is the high level of LH, that is also called as LH surge, is responsible for the rupture of the mature follicle and thereby the release of ovum. And this process is called ovulation. So ovulation is the release of ovum under the influence of LH, that is the highest level. So at the 14th level, FSH and LH is highest. Then the luteal phase, that is after the ruptured follicle, that is after the releasing of the follicle, releasing of the ovum. The ruptured follicle are transformed into corpus luteum, and they secrete large quantity of progesterone, and this is responsible for the increase in body temperature during the menstrual phase or after menstruation. Endometrium thickens further and prepared to receive, that is the cycle of events is continued, and the absence of fertilization, the corpus luteum degenerate and the endometrium is set up along with the blood vessel and the unfertilized ovum. So here you can see the diagram. This is important very much. The temperature increasing, FSH and LH are high, the estrogen level is high during 13 days, and all these things. So endometrial lining, how it is prepared during the increase in blood vessel, etc. All of these things you can see. The growing follicle here, the ovulation is there, the corpus luteum, then it will become corpus albicans. So the corpus luteum is the, means after the ovulation, the follicle cell will form the corpus luteum, and this secrete large amount of progesterone. This is called luteum because this is yellow in color, and after that they will become corpus albicans. So this is the end of the video. Thank you for watching.